morning, everyone. And I have to say this too. Howdy. Let's have more of that. Howdy. Welcome to the Mason County Courthouse Rededication Ceremony. It is my pleasure to introduce our Masters of Ceremony today. Judge Rob Hoffman is currently the longest-serving official or employee for Mason County, having had an office in this courthouse for 28 years. In his fourth term as our district judge, he is often quoted as saying he has spent his entire life on these sacred acres of the square. A seventh-generation Mason County resident, he spent much of his first 18 years working and playing at Hoffman Dry Goods across Fort McCavitt Street. In 1986, 16-year-old Hoffman rode his horse Buster for many hours modeling for local artist Mitch McKeska in preparation for the cattle driver statue here in our courthouse yard in honor of the Texas Sesquicentennial. He was appointed by the Texas Supreme Court as the first senior jurist in residence for the Texas Children's Commission, and in a few days he will be sworn in for a one-year volunteer term as the 80th president of the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges, our oldest national judicial organization. Please help me congratulate and welcome Judge Rob Hoffman.
Thank you, Judge Harding. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mason County Courthouse. There are a few seats available still. If you would like to have a seat, there's even some right here on the front row on either side. Go ahead and fill in. You're welcome to take any seat that is available. As we begin, it's appropriate for me to recognize the man standing to my right. My good friend, an excellent sheriff, and one of the hardest working public servants that I know, our Sheriff Joe Lancaster. We are extremely fortunate to have him in Mason County as our sheriff, and most especially blessed to have had him as our sheriff during these last 3.5 difficult years. Thank you, Sheriff Lancaster. We are honored today to have our color guard from the Fort Mason American Legion, Post 285, present the colors. Please stand. Color guard approach. We're very fortunate in Mason County to have so many talented artists, including local musician Justin McFarland, who will now come forward and lead us all in the national anthem.
I ask you to join with me and make a big voice here on this beautiful, beautiful day. Folks, can you see by the lawns of Eli, once so proud he hailed at the time priceless King, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, but so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner in wave, o'er the land of the free and the whole of the brave.
At this time, I will ask our Mason County Veteran Service Officer, Major B.C. Hardin, to step forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the American and Texas flag.
If you'll please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag, the pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
If you'll please remain standing for us. At this time, I'm going to ask Mason County Justice of the Peace, Treg Hudson, to step forward and lead us in our invocation. Judge Hudson.
Good morning. Please bow your head with me. Lord, we thank you so much. We have hearts of gratitude. Many of us here were on the north side of this square, on the north side of this courthouse, and watched it burn. 3.5 years later, we're here celebrating the rededication. As Isaiah said, you've brought us from ashes to joy. You've given us an oil of gladness instead of mourning. And Lord, what was meant for evil, you turned to good. And we're thankful. We look back on all the times that you provided for us every step of the way. We're grateful for all the people that were involved in this. There were hundreds of people that gave, and that either gave time or money or leadership. We're so thankful for that. Mostly we're thankful for you. You are our provider. This courthouse is a symbol of justice. And Lord, we know that you are the ultimate good judge. You are true justice. We acknowledged you in the beginning, and the scripture tells us that when we acknowledge you, you'll direct our paths. And we acknowledge you now, Lord. And we dedicate all of this day and these proceedings to you. We ask you, Lord, to direct our paths. We pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. And again, there's still quite a few seats over here on my right. If you want to squeeze in, you're welcome to do so. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Scott Zesch. Many of you are familiar with him. He is Mason County historian and currently the chair of the Mason County Historical Commission. He's been an active member of the commission for more than 20 years and has actually been our chair since 2021. Before that, he was program director for the Mason County Historical Society, but his involvement with local history projects goes way, way back, maybe starting sometime around his sophomore year in high school back in 1975, when he helped shingle the roof up on the hill for the reconstructed Fort Mason. Additionally, 3 of his ancestors were county officials at the time this third courthouse was built. His great-grandfather, Ben Hay, was our county clerk, His great-great-uncle, Herman Zesch, was a county commissioner, and his great-great-great-uncle, William Wilkinson, was our justice of the peace. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Zesch.
Thank you, Judge Hoffman. This is Mason County's third courthouse. The original courthouse was located somewhere on the northeast quadrant of the lawn. It burned in 1877 and was replaced by a second courthouse on this site. The county outgrew the second one, so they tore it down and started building this third building in August 1909. Now, during construction, our county government moved across the street into the jail. And the headline in the Mason County News read, "County Officers Jailed." The third courthouse was much grander than the second. The architect was E.C. Hosford, who also designed courthouses in Florida and Georgia. Now, either he really loved his design for the dome, or else he got a little lazy, because the dome he gave Mason was nearly identical to domes he had just put on 2 courthouses in Florida. Our courthouse was built in only 9 months, with a contract price just under $40,000. Now, those of you who worked on this reconstruction may have encountered a few unwelcome surprises along the way, but so did your predecessors more than a century ago. At one point, work came to a halt because the steel for the building got lost in shipment, and they had to figure out where it went. The county accidentally overpaid the contractor $840, so each of the county commissioners agreed to dig in his pocket and cover the mistake if necessary. Well, the contractor may have been overpaid, but it still managed to lose $948 on the project, because the stone was more difficult to work than they'd expected. Now, you sometimes hear people say about old buildings, they don't build them like they used to. Well, let's hope that's the case, because the original roof of this building started leaking just a year after it was finished. The grand jury very helpfully recommended that the commissioners should get it fixed to preserve the records. Well, the commissioners didn't like that. They howled that the grand jury did this court an unjust and an unkind act, and told the grand jury to tend to its own business and not try to tell the commissioners' court what to do. I'm happy to report that all 4 of our current commissioners have much more pleasant dispositions than their predecessors in 1910. Many of the furnishings and the light fixtures didn't arrive until several months after the building was completed. At one point, the commissioners decided to help themselves to some of the pews from the old Episcopal Church to use as benches on these porches. So this time around, in 2022, the Episcopalians contributed to the Reconstruction Fund in hopes that the county won't pilfer our pews again. The grand opening took place on May 4th, 1910. There was a picnic, a band concert, a baseball game in which Mason trounced Fredonia 20-9. But, no dancing. Back in 1881, the commissioners had told the sheriff not to let the courthouse be used for dancing. So today, if you're so excited to see the courthouse completed, and this includes you county officials, if you're so excited that you want to dance a jig, please do it outside the courthouse. I want to close by paying tribute to 2 of the unsung heroes of this project. Jane Herster and Jan Appleby spent countless hours reading the minutes of every single commissioner's court meeting from 1905 through 2008 to document every change to the courthouse over the years. Their work was instrumental in helping Mason get the first $4 million grant for the courthouse restoration. So let's have a round of applause for Jane Herster and Jan Appleby. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Andrew Murr was first elected in 2014 and now represents 16 counties in District 53 in the Texas House of Representatives. An eighth-generation Texan, he was raised on a ranch in Kimball County, attended schools in Junction, and then at Texas A&M University, receiving a bachelor's degree in agricultural development with an emphasis on economics and policy. He worked towards his master's degree at A&M and earned his teaching certification. And of course, many of us know he completed his student teaching right here in Mason. He subsequently graduated with the highest honors from Texas Tech University School of Law, probably the only of the 4 or 5 Texas Tech Law School graduates here before you today that could say that. Representative Murr was previously elected as Kimball County Attorney and also then subsequently appointed as Kimball County Judge. He has served our district and our county very well with distinction, including way too many committees for me to mention. He and his wife Amanda live on the family ranch in Junction with his children, Cope, Jackson, Caroline, and Finn. Please help me welcome Andy Murray.
Howdy. Howdy. It is really hard to follow Sunset, so I'll do my best. They told me I had 90 minutes. The judge warned me I only have 4. So it's a great day in Mason County. We're here to celebrate not just the rededication of this courthouse, but of the resilience of this community and the vigor and tenacity that you undertook to rebuild. It stands as a symbol of the strong bonds of the people and families of Mason County. So, how do I speak to that? I hail from one county over. And so I thought, well, what does Mason County mean to me, a guy from Junction? Well, my grandfather was born in Mason County in 1888 in a log cabin. And in fact, I'm the first person born on that side of the family in a hospital. In high school, we were rivals. But in college, we were good friends. We were combat tested in sports and academia. I had the opportunity to come back and do my student teaching under the tutelage of ag teachers here in Mason, including Judge Bearden. And I'm better for that. As a lawyer, I have attended court in your courthouse. I've participated in trials. And as a state representative, I have called upon the folks that work right here for your community in this courthouse. So I know what it means to me, and therefore I know how much value it has to you. So when a terrible act caused this building to burn, the state of Texas viewed that conduct as an attack on the judiciary. It was an attack on one of the branches of government. But to the judiciary's credit, Judge Hoffman held court the very next day. I know because I attended via Zoom. We did not need a courthouse for the branch of government to continue to serve the community. So when that happened, I went to my colleagues in the Texas House and the Texas Senate, and I fought for, and we successfully captured $6 million from the state of Texas General Revenue Fund to be directed to Mason County. It was the first time in a generation that the state of Texas spent money on a courthouse outside of the Historical Commission's fantastic courthouse restoration grant program. It was a big deal, and for that we are blessed. There are so many people that helped get this across the finish line. You couldn't name them all because you will leave someone off. But there are a lot of people here today, through their blood, sweat, and tears and tireless efforts, that this is successful. So it stands as a beacon of our shared heritage and a commitment to your future generations. Today, let us honor those who made this possible. Your unwavering support as a community made this restoration a reality. And I don't know how I can say that in other ways. There are other communities in the state of Texas where I question how fast and how tireless they would rally to get the job done like you did in Mason. So as we look to the future, let us cherish and protect this courthouse. May it serve the heart of your community, a place where justice prevails and where history lives on. It's a shout out for history. And I, for one, continue to practice law. I look forward to being in this courthouse for many years to come, attending meetings and supporting our local officials. Here is to a bright future in Mason County and many more years of prosperity and unity. Congratulations and thank you to everyone here today.
Commissioner Garrett Donnelly serves as Secretary of the Texas Historical Commission and will step forward in a moment. Garrett Donnelly was appointed to the Texas Historical Commission in 2018 and is currently the Vice President of the Eastland Oil Company, the fifth generation of his family to join in the family business. He was born and raised in Midland. He graduated from Texas Tech University with a BBA in Management and Management of Information Systems. He continues to serve his community in multiple volunteer roles. He's a member and chairman of the Construction Committee for Safe Place of the Permian Basin, a member of the Permian Basin Landmen Association, the American Association of Petroleum Landmen, and the Permian Basin Producers Association. He's a past chairman of the Texas Tech University Health Science Center Permian Basin Advisory Board and a member of his local parish council at St. Anne's Church. He loves soccer. He coaches both of his kids, but recently he's just been a spectator. Help me welcome Commissioner Garrett Donnelly.
Well, now I have to follow both Mr. Sesh and Mr. Murr, but I'll keep it very, very brief. Thank you for letting me join this wonderful event today. It's really been an honor to share this celebration of hope and resiliency. As we stand on the porch of this courthouse, a symbol of this county's strength, unity, and perseverance, we can't help but reflect on the same journey that brought us here. The 2021 tragedy struck this cornerstone of Mason County. Watching it as it was engulfed in flames was a shocking blow. But in the face of that devastation, your community did not falter. Your representatives did not falter. Everyone stepped up, and instead you united to resolve, to rebuild, and restore. Across Texas, we see counties and communities dedicated to preserving their heritage through historic preservation. Mason County's focus on keeping this history anchored here in this courthouse is truly commendable. You rallied to bring this courthouse back to life. The reconstruction was not bricks and mortars. It was a showcase of the dedication of the people here, elected officials, and the county's collective strength. Thanks to the generosity of the people of Mason County, a special appropriation from Texas legislature, spearheaded by Senator Charles Perry and your own Representative Andrew Murr, also the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool, all of the necessary resources were secured. Additionally, a Texas Historical Commission's restoration grant has already been approved and was almost underway at the time of the fire. The good news about this meant the building had already been well documented for this spectacular restoration. The architect and contractors were able to jump right in and start work. I also want to recognize the incredible artistry and prowess of the community's passion and its strength of this form. I'd like to express my gratitude to all of them, but there is special thanks for the architects, David Chase and Alexis McKinney from Architects of Dallas, and our project manager, Dave Stouch from CPM Texas. Your collective efforts have made this project a total success. A number of dedicated THC staff have also contributed to this project, and I want to recognize THC architect for the project, Eva Osborne. I know she's in the crowd. Eva, thank you for all your hard work. It is on full display in this courthouse and many others in her region across the state of Texas. We are grateful for all the effort and hard work, gratitude for the resources that made this possible, the will to rebuild, and the resilience that defines all of us. This rededication also signifies our continued commitment to justice, equality, and democracy. It reaffirms our belief in the power of the community and the enduring strength of our human spirit. Let us carry that spirit of unity and determination as we look forward. And thank you for today again. And the commission has a plaque to present. So thank you. I'm sorry, I thought I saw you.
Texas is very fortunate to be served by Senator John Cornyn. We are especially grateful for his support here in Mason County. Today we have Jill Wyman, who is the Central Texas Regional Director for Senator Cornyn, present for a special presentation. Jill?
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry the senator couldn't be here, but she had me. So I have a short letter to read on his behalf. And dear fellow Texans, congratulations on the rededication of the historic Mason County Courthouse. For more than a century, this courthouse stood as a pillar of the community before it was tragically burned down in 2021. For the past 3 years, this community has worked tirelessly to rebuild from the ashes, and I applaud efforts by everyone here today who helped make this possible. Thanks to the Texas Historical Commission, Texas Association of Counties, Judge Bearden, Judge Hardin, county commissioners, and countless others who helped maintain the courthouse's integrity, preserve its history, and restore some of the original structure. It's encouraging to see communities such as yours come together in the face of adversity and emerge stronger. I join you in celebrating this significant milestone and look forward to seeing this revitalized courthouse stand as a symbol of your hard work, your unity, and resilience for generations to come. Enjoy the festivities of Roundup this weekend and keep up the good work. May God bless USA and may God bless Texas. John Cornyn.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you Curtis Donaldson, who is our Vice President of the Friends of the Mason County Courthouse. A Texas Aggie and Army veteran, Mr. Donaldson has taken Mason County by storm since marrying Mason native Mary Fry and moving home 6 years ago. After retiring from 45 years in the energy sector, he joined the commercial bank as vice president and immediately began work in our community for economic development, with the chamber, with the ISD Foundation, with community advocates, and most recently with the Sheriff's Office fundraiser. Curtis now works for Texas A&M as Director of Rural Medicine for the School of Medicine and also Director of Community Engagement in rural Texas for the Office of the President. He is our Vice President for the Friends of the Mason County Courthouse, which organized a capital campaign which raised $5.2 million to help rebuild our courthouse. Now, as Curtis comes down, we're going to let that thing ring a few more times, and then Curtis will begin.
Doesn't that bell sound good, huh? There you go, 12 of them. And I'm the lucky one. I get to talk about all of you because it took all of us, everyone here today, to get us where we are today. It was a community event and community bonding event at that. So welcome to the day we've all been longing for since February of 2021. It was a journey, but it's sure good to be at the finish line. First of all, I would like to acknowledge my colleagues who served as volunteers on the Friends of the Mason County Courthouse Committee. If you'll remain standing while I read all the names, please. Chris Hicks, Homer Sanchez, Randy Cruzy, Connie Stockbridge, Brandon Willis, and our president, Bobby McMillan. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your time and your commitment to the courthouse campaign. The resiliency of our civic leaders, our community, and our friends from across the country helped to make this journey a joy for all of us. In fact, it was a bonding experience for our community and those that came alongside us. As one of our committee members stated, and it was Lee McMillan, he always would say, it's a God thing, over and over. From the first time when we hit our first wall in our capital campaign and kind of got stagnant for a minute, to a phone call from our friends in New Mexico who stopped by here and visit and sit on a balcony and look at this courthouse. And the gentleman called me and said, let's get this courthouse rebuilt. Then challenging others to match that, we had a friend from Pontotoc with ties to Mason who matched it, and then another friend from Cherry Springs. That was followed by a friend of ours from New York who has ties back to Mason that then helped us double our campaign and helped get us well on our way. All the community events that led to many, many more community donations. Then a foundation from Abilene called and said, we'd like to contribute and get you to the finish line. You combine that with the night we had of the Larry Gatlin concert and the funds raised that night, and we ended up with $5.2 million. And that, my friends, took everyone. It took every single person. From our wood turner friends in Comfort who took the pecan wood that we saved and preserved and made artists and artifacts for us to use, to our local artists, including some who are no longer with us, to all the businesses in town that raised money along the journey, to every single individual who made a contribution in some way, to the foundations, the associations, and our corporate community partners, setting the stage to us to get to the finish line. And then finally, before we even started the committee, our 2 locally owned and operated banks that seed funded the campaign, again, before we funded, with 2 contributions to get us started. Just know that our committee was honored and humbled to serve, and we attribute the success of going beyond the goal to all of you, every single one of you, and to our God who continually provided. With that, Judge Hardin, please accept this plaque acknowledging all the donors on behalf of the Friends in the Courthouse. And lastly, the Friends of the Courthouse would like to acknowledge our prior judge, Jerry Bearden. Would you please come down? Our friends from the Wood Turner Group, Roger Arnold specifically, took some of the pecan wood and designed this plate and sketched the courthouse in it. Roger's actually with us today. We want to present this to Judge Bearden.
Thank you, Curtis. If you will step aside for a second. Texas is also blessed to be served in Washington by our Senator Ted Cruz. In a moment, I'll have his assistant, Brandon Simon. In Mason County, we say that's Simon. It may be Simon. I'm not sure, Brandon. You can tell us what's correct. Brandon Simon, or Brandon Simon, is the Central Texas Regional Director for our state, for our federal Senator Ted Cruz. Go ahead and step forward, Brandon.
Given those wonderful bells, good afternoon. I will make this brief because I can see it's a little sunny out. I too also have a letter from the senator here to you, the community of Mason here, and I will paraphrase, and what it says is, a pleasure to join the people of Mason County in celebrating the rededication of the Mason County Courthouse. This event marks a significant milestone in restoring the courthouse's heritage and safeguarding the judicial system that Texans depend on to uphold their freedoms and liberties. Congratulations on ensuring that Mason County remains a source of pride and inspiration for the Lone Star State. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great state of Texas. Sincerely, Ted Cruz. And with that, the Senator also requested that a flag be flown over the U.S. Capitol on behalf of this momentous occasion, so I want to present those to Judge Harden at this time. And one additional thing, I'll keep it quick. Curtis, if you could step over real fast. The Senator also wrote letters to the members of the Friends of the Mason County Courthouse, thanking them for their generous time and blood, sweat, and tears to this, because as Curtis already mentioned, it took the community to make this happen. So Curtis, thank you so much.
At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our project manager, Dave Stouch. He is Senior Principal Manager for CPM Texas, and he's going to give us an overview of the building process. Dave graduated from Texas A&M University in 1979 with a degree in building construction and is the founder and managing principal of CPM Texas, located in Austin. Over the past 40 years, he is responsible for leadership and successfully developing projects of great significance. In addition, Mr. Stouch maintains a successful practice as a construction claims consultant and also a testifying expert witness. Maybe we'll have him one day in court upstairs. From 1990 to 1995, Mr. Stouch served as the project manager of the award-winning $187 million Texas Capital Restoration and Extension Program. This was a nationally acclaimed program and was the largest capital restoration in the nation, which led to a successful delivery on time and on budget. In addition to building our Mason County Courthouse, he is renovating the Paramount and Stateside Theaters in Austin and is in charge of the RBJ Center redevelopment there in Austin, a $230 million expansion of the Austin Geriatric Center. Help me welcome Mr. Stouch.
Howdy. Hope that cloud comes over and blocks the sun. Thank you, Judge Hoffman, for that kind introduction. I'm going to take just a few minutes to talk about the process of putting the pieces together. First, I'd like to recognize a few people who were instrumental. They've been mentioned before, but they deserve double credit here. Instrumental in getting us here. From Texas Historical Commission, Eva Osborne. Eva's guidance was most valuable to us. Texas Historical Commission, through two sets of funding, the original $4 million and the additional $6 million that Representative Murr referenced, provided over $10 million to this project. From the Texas Association of Counties, Michael Shannon and Brett Anderson, these are the folks who run the risk management pool for all 254 counties, and they put in almost $7 million. So between those two, yeah, let's give them a round. We would not be here without them. From CPM Texas, Andrew Stouch and Amy Hurd. From architects, David Chase, Alexis McKinney, and Amber Smoot. From Gerloff, Paul Cleveland, and of course our superintendent, Glenn Lindquist. There's another person who played an instrumental part in all of this, Jerry Bearden. When I first met Jerry a few days after the fire, and like everybody in this community, he was heartbroken. But like everyone in this community, he was determined, with an unbending resolve to rebuild. I remember several early meetings with Jerry and the commissioners when I described what would happen in the first 6 months. I said to the outside world, it would appear that absolutely nothing is happening and you're going to get phone calls. Very predictably, that happened. But while that was all going on and y'all were looking at those empty walls, we were evaluating the walls and columns. We were designing the exterior envelope. Architects was doing that. We pre-purchased the steel trusses, which made a few people nervous, and we hired a general contractor. We then delivered the largest roof trusses erected by the largest crane in this part of Texas. Jerry and the commissioners were critically important to delivering that message to the county. And I can't understate or overstate how important that was, because they communicated every bit of this. They had to trust the process, and they did. That was a real success. With the help of a good team, we were able to deliver the project on the same budget that we established 3 weeks after the fire. That's another success, our public project. Led by Jerry, we had the ideal owner, engaged and supportive. And when Judge Harden and 2 new commissioners took office, nothing changed in the owner's support of the project. And that is a big success in my view. Welcome home.
In a moment, we'll have our ribbon cutting, but before that, I get to introduce my good friend, small town girl who made her way to Mason County. We're happy to have her. Judge Cherie Harden is a 1995 graduate of Texas A&M University and a teacher for over 20 years in public and charter schools, in juvenile prison, and in our community where she served with her families, where she moved with her family in 2015 and has served as the AgriLife Extension Service Family and Community Health Agent. 7 years ago, she joined the county judge's office as administrative assistant, giving her the opportunity to learn the inner workings of county government. Working under the leadership of Judge Bearden at the onset of the restoration, it is now her distinct honor to serve as our county judge since 2023. And now, to reunite each one of us, the citizens of Mason County and all of our friends, with this beautifully rebuilt courthouse. Please help me welcome to the stage Judge Cherie Harden.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate that. This is a very special moment for Mason County, and it means so much that all of you chose to be here today, enduring the heat, but you chose to be here today. And I say thank you for that, each and every one of you. As Judge Hoffman mentioned, I began my tenure with Mason County under the leadership of Judge Jerry Bearden. Most of you know, but some of you may not realize, that Judge Bearden served this community faithfully for over 50 years, first as a teacher and then as county judge. His love for this county and this courthouse runs very deep. Today is a day that Judge Bearden has been waiting for a very long time. As we wrap up this ceremony, nothing would bring me more joy than for Judge Bearden to do the honors of cutting the red ribbon. Judge Bearden, would you please come forward to officially rededicate this grand old lady back to our public? Also, in traditional ribbon-cutting fashion, I'd like to invite Heather Harrell, Executive Director of the Mason Chamber of Commerce, to join us for the ribbon cutting. Excuse me. And while she's making her way up here, I'd like to say thank you to the Chamber for allowing us to host this event on Roundup Weekend. Also, I would like to call up our event host to join us on stage to the left and to the right here. And finally, I'd like to ask all of our distinguished guests on the porch to find their way to the center stairs. Okay, Judge Bearden. In your famous words, the phoenix has risen, and it is time to cut the ribbon.
Thank you, Mason County.
Okay, if everybody will stay where they are, we are going to take some pictures and then we have some other things to do after that. So if you'll bear with us for photographs, please stay where you are. All right, everyone stay where you are, even those of you standing here behind me. Oh, one more. I would like to introduce the folks who are here behind me who have not been previously introduced, your other elected officials for this county and for our district. You can give them a wave as I call your name. First, our district attorney, Tanya Spade-Allsweet. County Attorney Rebecca Geist-White-Woodwork. Our District and County Clerk Pam Beam. Mason County Treasurer Allie Yonker. And our current and former county commissioners, Reggie Leffler, Buddy Schisler, Dave Underwood, Fred Estes, Will Fry, and Stephen Mucci. We're so happy to have our next door neighbor from Llano County, Carol Cunningham, here representing our Congressman August Pfluger. And we are especially thankful, as has been mentioned earlier, for the great assistance of our state senator, Charles Perry, who is represented here today by Cheryl De Cordova. We also have our current county employees who assisted us here today. A round of applause for them. And also, if you are a current county employee or a past county employee and you're present with us, please stand. All right. We also know that we have some local city and school board members present with us, and our city today is represented by City Secretary Patty Allen. So would you each please stand? Now, immediately upon the incident, we had calls from across the state, and especially from our next door neighbors and friends here in Central Texas. We couldn't have made it without the support of our friends and neighbors from within our judicial district, as well as from our surrounding counties and really from across the state. We have lots of folks here who are local officials, elected officials from across the state, from our surrounding counties. Would you please stand to be recognized? The good news is, if you want to hear a little bit more from Judge Bearden, he's going to have a walk-through recorded tour of the courthouse. It's going to be broadcast sometime soon on KNEL on their Facebook page, I believe. So stay tuned for that. I think you can access that anytime and get an intimate tour from Judge Bearden and also Judge Hardin. Ladies and gentlemen, our open house will begin at 1 o'clock. Please enter from the east side. Thank you all very much for being here to celebrate with us. That is the conclusion. Thank you.